Hey everybody, this is part 43 of our Every Man's Battle study, and we're going to pick it right back up from where we left off. Remember, we were at a turning point. We were just talking about this dream that Fred Stoker had, and how he actually succeeded in his dream of beating the flesh, defeating the flesh, even within the dream. And when you get to that place, man, you know you're on the right track. Things are going well. And he did that in his dream. And so we're going to go, he talked about how awesome it was, how he was able to worship in church and feel free for the first time. What an amazing feeling, man. What an amazing feeling. So I'm going to keep on going here. I'll read that last sentence again. He said, for someone who had felt such distance from God for so long, the feeling was glorious. The explanation, I'm convinced a spiritual oppression in my life was crushed that night. Though I can't be dogmatic, I've never been one to look for Satan behind every rock. All I know is that before that night, I'd never been able to worship freely. After that night, it flowed easily, and it continues to this day. Purity always brings spiritual opposition. While there may not be spiritual oppression involved in your battle, there'll always be spiritual opposition. The enemy is constantly near your ear. He doesn't want you to win this fight. And he knows that lies that so often break men's confidence and their will to win. He knows the lies that so often break men's confidence and their will to win. Expect to hear lies and plenty of them. What we've told you is the truth. There is peace and tranquility for you on the other side of this war. There is immeasurable spiritual gain. The deceiver will tell you that Steve Arterburn and Fred Stoker are crazy, and that you'll soon be as crazy as both of them combined if you follow their ideas. To help you recognize Satan's lies when you hear them, here's a list of some of them. After each lie, we'll state the actual truth. Satan, you're the only one dealing with this problem. If anyone ever finds out, you'll be the laughing stock of the church. Or beyond, right? Or something else horrible like that. But the truth says most men deal with this problem, so no one will laugh. That's a fact. Up to 96% of men are looking at pornography even. There's up to 54% of men are having an affair, have had an affair, or soon will have an affair. And that would include one-night stands or just a one-time cheat, by the way. Okay? All right, so Satan says to you, you failed again. You'll never be able to train your eyes. It's impossible. The truth says it isn't impossible. Job trained his eyes, didn't he? He was a man just like you. Was there any real difference back then when Job lived? Some would say chronologically, it's among most believers, chronologically, Job is the first book written of the Bible, not in the Bible. First book, obviously Genesis, but chronologically, very possible that Job was the first book written. I don't know how long ago this took place, but we do know that God said that Job was pretty much the most holy man on the face of the earth. And it was because of his sexual purity. Because we conquer that, you can conquer anything. All right? You can conquer anything. It's pretty awesome. It is really, really awesome. Satan says to you, you're being so legalistic. The law is dead and only brings death. But the truth says God still has standards of behavior for us. And you're responsible to live purely by his standards. That's real. That's real. So all of these Christians, even that I know, Christians who say, look, you can't live like that, okay? Don't try to be pure. You don't have to do that. You're not under the law, this, that, the other. And hey, I agree with you. But God expects us to live purely. The New Testament says that. Paul says that, right? Paul said, should we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. We have to train ourselves to live pure. And we've been over scripture after scripture in the New Testament that tells us that, right? So we know that you do have to live pure, right? It's not about shame, not about living in shame. It's about growing. It's about becoming better. Again, what does that look like? 1%. Be 1% better every single day. Okay? You'll get there. You will become that man, all right? We love the idea of cold turkey, though. Cold turkey, this thing, man. Satan says, oh, come on. Don't be such a moron. This habit-changing plan will never work. The truth says the plan will work because for most men, the problem of sexual impurity is nothing more than bad choices evolving into bad habits. Bad choices evolving into bad habits. I love the way he said that. It's not a mistake. It's a choice. It's a decision. You came into this thing on purpose, but then it stuck because you thought, well, I'll just do it, just this once. It'll be just this once. And then the next thing you know, it's again and again and again and again and again. And it's habit forming. Can you break it? Absolutely. Can you make new habits? Absolutely. How did I do it? I did 1% better every day. 1%. 1% better every day, building new habits. Started with a 5-minute workout. Now that's a 50-minute workout. It just got better every day, and I feel better every day for it, right? Started out at night walking the dog. Now I'm running that mile. That can be anybody. I'm fully convinced I can have anybody doing that, I'm fully convinced I could train anybody who's not bound to a wheelchair or doesn't have legs to get running. If you put yourself in that position where you can't do it, or if you're overweight, we can do it, man. I am fully convinced in my abilities because of God, because God has given me the ability to do this for myself. I truly can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. Come on. This is awesome stuff, right? Satan says, why fight though? Why fight this costly battle when the costs of your impurity are so minimal? The costs of your impurity are so minimal. The truth says you can't always see them, but the cost of your sin are greater than you think. Again, you're probably holding back somebody else's ministry. You're holding yourself back work-wise. You're holding yourself back success-wise. Could be your ministry, your spouse's ministry, your children's ministry. The ministry of your church is being held back because you decide that it's not that big of a deal. Satan says, why live in this high state of alert for the rest of your life? Give up now and I'll leave you alone. The truth is, Satan just might keep his word and leave you alone. But even if he did, the laws of reaping and sowing would still exact their payment from you. You cannot avoid the cost of sexual impurity. You might as well fight. Satan says, you'll be awkward in business situations now, especially with women. You won't fit in and you'll lose business. The truth says, no, you won't be awkward in business situations. You won't be awkward in business situations. You'll be more at ease than you ever have been before. That's just the truth. You're going to feel so much power when you decide, I'm not doing those things anymore. I'm letting all that go. I don't want anything to do with that stuff anymore. I promise you, you're going to feel the power that comes with it. I know because I do. Steve Arterburn did and does. Fred Stoker did and does. These men do. And thousands of other men who are following this do. So let's do it together, okay? You want to talk? Unbroken Together Coaching. Reach out to us, okay? Look us up on Google. All right? I'll see you guys in the comments.